Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture number 3 of Labour Economics. Students, it's part 2 of the previous lecture in which we were studying the theory of individual labor supply. In our today's lecture, we will complete the theory and derive the labor supply curve, which is backward bending. So let's start. In the previous lecture, we discussed income layer and difference curve. If you recall your memory from the previous lecture, we discussed it is an indifference curve. On the y-axis, we have measured the income, and on the x-axis, if we move from as you see in the figure, from origin to the right world, we measure the hours of layer per day. These are the hours. We have 24 hours, so 24 hours of layer. Similarly, when we move toward the origin, we have increase in the work hours. So this indifference curve, as we discussed in the previous lecture, is a combination of income and hours of work. In this figure, you see the indifference map for the labor supply. The I1 is an indifference curve which shows the combination of income and layer. I2 shows a higher level of income and layer, and I3 shows further higher level of income and the layer. As we discussed in the previous lecture, as we move away from the origin, or a higher indifference curve shows a higher level of utility, because the labor has more income and more hours of work. In the figure number 3, you see there are two the curves. We discussed two types the curves. And A, you see these are workaholic, means in this case, as we discussed in the last lecture, the individual is ready to give off more layer to get less income. For little income, he is ready to sacrifice more layer. This second part shows the layer level, where the curves are sharp, and the individual is ready to give off more income to get little layer. The fourth figure we see. This is the budget line for the labor. We measure income on the y-axis and the work hours on the x-axis. As we discussed in the previous lecture, that our labor has 24 hours to work for the work and layer. We first suppose that the labor works 24 hours and he doesn't take any rest, and suppose that the wage rate is $1. So by working $24, he will be at this point 24. And if he doesn't work, means he spend all his time in layer, he will be at this 24 point. So by joining these two, we get a budget line. This is the budget line for the labor. Secondly, we suppose that when the wage rate increases, the second budget line can be 48.24. If the wage rate is $3 per hour, so what will be 24 multiplied by 3? 72 dollars he can earn by working 24 hours if the wage rate is 3. If the wage rate increases to 4 by working 24 hours, he can get $96. If the wage rate is 4 into 24, 96. Or if he doesn't take any work, he doesn't spend any time in the work, but takes the rest, enjoy the layer, this 96.24 will be the budget line. Now question arises where of the utility maximization, where will be the individual labor in equilibrium. So for the equilibrium, the conditions are the same as we discussed in the microeconomics, that the equilibrium occurs at the point where the indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. So we already discussed the labor budget line and the indifference curve, which is combination of income and layer. So the individual optimal position can be determined by bringing together subjective preferences embodied in the labor indifference curve and the objective market information contained in the budget line. This is shown in the figure where we assume that the wage rate is true. The individual maximizes total utility by attaining the highest possible indifference curve. So let's come to the diagram. Look here. Suppose the wage rate is 2. So if the labor work for the 24 hours and doesn't enjoy any layer, then for working 24 hours, if the wage rate is $2 per hour, we have 48 hours. He will have the income of $48. So WH is the budget line for that particular labor. Now, students, we see there are three different indifference curve, I1, I2 and I3. We see the I1 is touching the budget line at point B and point A. So the question arises whether the labor will stay at point A or point B. So the answer is no. He will not stay at A or B because he can go to another accessible indifference curve I2, which is tangent to the WH budget line at U1. So he will be in equilibrium at point U1, and he will be enjoying the situation because he will be working for 16 hours, means he will be earning uh, he will be working for 8 hours by as the wage rate is 2, so he will be earning the $16 and he will be enjoying the layer 16 hours. So in this case, the consumer is in equilibrium, the labor is in equilibrium at U1. He is maximizing his utility. He is earning $16 by working 8 hours, and he is enjoying the layer by enjoying 16 hours of layer. So he divides his time 24 hours into 16 hours of layer and 8 hours of working if the wage rate is 2. So the labor is in equilibrium at U1. It is important to recognize that in this optimal position, the individual and market agree about the relative worth of layer and income at the margin. At U1, the slope of indifference curve I2 and slope of budget line are equal. As we have discussed many times in the economics, in the microeconomics, that equilibrium occurs at the point where the budget line and the indifference curve are tangent. So, at U1, the conditions are fulfilled. Now, what will happen to this decision of the labor if the wage rate changes? Currently, if the wage rate is 2, he will stay at U1. But if the wage rate increases to 3, 4, 5, 6 per hour, then what will be his decision and how much time he will allocate to the work and how much time he will allocate to uh, the the layer. Look at this diagram. Uh, in this diagram, the same. This is the extension of the previous diagram. We see here on the x-axis the hours and y-axis the income. From O, when we move to H, this is increase in the layer time. Increase in the layer time means reduction in the work hours. So we have different budget lines, the budget line W1, W2, W3, W4, W5, and all these budget lines have been derived from different wage rate. W1 is when the wage rate is 1, W2 when wage rate is 2, when wage rate is 370, this W3, wage rate is 4, W4, and when the wage rate is 5, the W5 is the budget line. So, students, let's come to the point at the I1. Initially, the budget line when the wage rate is W1, the labor is in equilibrium at U1, and he allocates 16 hours. As we discussed earlier, he allocates 16. He allocates 16 hours to layer and 8 hours to work. So the student, if the wage rate increases, the new budget line becomes W2H, where you see 48. If he work for the 24 hours, he will be earning $48. So with this, he moves to an upper indifference curve I2, which is tangent to the W2 8.U2. So this means that he reduces the he reduces the layer and increases the work hours. So as we see here, that at the W2 he increases the work hours to 1213. Now, if the wage rate further increases to $3, we see another budget line W3, and the labor moves to U3, which is he is earning more. But students, we see if the wage rate further increases to 4, the new budget line becomes this W4H. The labor moves to U4. Now, at this point, we see that the consumer prefers to work for lesser hours as compared to W3 because maybe this higher wage gives him more income by working for lesser hours. Similarly, if he moves from the wage rate increases to the $5, he moves to W5, and the new budget line is this W5, and the new equilibrium position is the U5. So the consumer is equilibrium at U5. So students, by joining the U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, we get this curve. If we draw this curve in terms of the wage rate and the hours of work hours, we get this backward bending supply curve. So, dear students, this is the backward bending labor supply curve, which shows the relationship of the wage rate and hours of work. This means that work hours changes with the change in the wage rate. Thank you very much. For any questions, queries, please come to the comment section, and you will get the answer. The lecture is based on the McMonnell-Brew and McPherson 2017 book, Contemporary Labour Economics. So students, see you in the next lecture. Thank you.